More extraordinary true-life rescues in 999.
All of tonight's rescues are true stories. We've sometimes used actors or stuntmen, but everything you see and hear is based on the accounts of the people involved. They've helped us to reconstruct events as they happened. Tonight on 999, the life and death dilemma. To save herself, she has to let him go. A man trapped in a blazing car. He'll die if the local people don't get him out. And how will they survive, lost in fog a mile from the shore with the tide rising around them? Cliffs are exciting places for walking and climbing, but they are by definition dangerous places. Not many of them have got safety barriers to stop you going over. Our first story tonight is set in Pembrokeshire. Some of its cliffs tower 600 feet above the water and are very dangerous places indeed. The local coastguards say a fall of only 30 feet is nearly always fatal. Even experienced walkers can be caught out. For one Cornish couple, a sudden slip in a place that they thought was safe led to a life and death decision which was to test their reserves of strength and trust to the utmost. In our reconstruction, the coastguards play themselves, but everybody else is played by an actor.
It's known locally as the Godier Goch, which means the Red Wilderness. And it is a dramatically wild piece of country.
I was born about 200 feet from the edge of a cliff, and I've always had a very healthy respect for cliffs from both above and below. Dangers can come from both ways.
I would say, definitely, that he is a cautious person, and everything is a bit belts and braces, and he's the one who says, don't go near the cliff, mind what you're going to do this, do that.
Jan and Clive Buckingham have been married for nearly 30 years and have spent many hours walking coastal paths.
We just love walking, and we just love getting away from people and everybody. We decided that this is a part of Wales that we hadn't done, so we thought, right, we'll try Pembrokeshire.
So chap down there.
We decided that we would make our way back, and then the evening crowned the day, so we thought we'd just pop down to see the little cove.
Stereophotography is a very old-fashioned method of getting a 3D picture. You view the results through a stereoscope and it gives you a 3D picture. It's just like going back to the scene itself. I think waterfalls are a great attraction, and I think any form of moving water is fascinating. I didn't have a particularly good view of the fall from where I was sitting, and so I decided to walk slightly back upstream again and just cross in a very ordinary part of the stream. I didn't take some sort of great leap. It was a simple step. My feet just shot from under me. Away I went, and there was nothing I could grip. And I virtually shot towards the ocean. It was very much like a slide in a swimming pool.
Despite all his efforts to grab a handhold, Clive slipped 15 feet downstream towards the cliff edge.
I turned round and he was overhanging the waterfall. I just couldn't believe it.
There was a 40 feet drop below him.
Everything was so very slippery, and of course I had the pressure of the water. On the way down I did grab one small boulder. I realised it wasn't heavy enough to hold me and it was coming with me.
I immediately went down and tried to grab his hand.
They'd made contact, but they were both precariously balanced.
I realised that she too was slipping.
There was nothing to hang on to at all anywhere, so I knew there was nothing I could do.
For heaven's sake, you must let go. No! If you don't let go, we'll fall
she slipped as well, then both of us would go. There was no case of any way back for either of us. No one would ever be able to save us from the situation we were in.
I couldn't believe that this is happening to us, you know. It was just horrendous. And I said, oh, God, please help us. Please help us. And I had to leave him go, because I'd have gone if I hadn't let him go.
If there is such a thing, I think I had what might be called a sort of out-of-body experience, because I do recall sort of looking down on myself. I can remember seeing myself in my silly pom-pom hat, you know, and that's the last I remember.
I heard him hit the bottom. So, of course, I just then immediately wanted to try and get down to find him. And, I mean, I really didn't think that he'd ever survive that. And so I began to make my way down. He was in a terrible state, incoherent, really. She said, I'm going to die, aren't I? And I said, of course you're not going to die. Don't be so stupid. Because, you know, I said, of course not. And, of course, I really thought he was. The trouble was the tide was coming in, so, of course, I had to get him away from the tide because I didn't know how long it was going to take me to get help. I had to get him back as far as I could, and I would have gone further, but I came across a rock that I couldn't drag him up because I would have really hurt him.
Stupid!
So I said, I've got to go for help, but I don't know how long. So I just had to really not hesitate and not think about it for any length of time. If I didn't think about it, I'd be all right. So I just had to go. I could see a house to the left and a house to the right, and I didn't know which one to go to, obviously, so I just really, really prayed which one to go to. And I went to the left, and the right one was derelict, so I wouldn't have got any help there at all. The front door was wide open. I thought, well, yes, someone's helping me, someone's looking after me.
I didn't have any fear of death at that point. Your mind drifts. It was quite peaceful in a sort of way. I wasn't there sort of fighting for life or anything like that. You do realise that your immediate absence would be a problem to your wife and to your children, but there wasn't a great fear of dying. It was more of leaving others, I think.
Meg and William Fisher told the Coastguard, who called out a helicopter from RAF Brawdy.
I was appalled because I knew the drop over the waterfall has to be about 40 feet. If the tide had been right in, he would have fallen into maybe 3 or 4 feet of water. It wouldn't have been enough to prevent injury, but would have been enough to drown him.
When we got Clive into view, we could see that he was still alive, which was absolutely unbelievable, really.
He looked in a bit of a state, to use a medical expression. He had a nasty bang on the head, which had bled slightly, and had there been much delay in the arrival of the helicopter, he would have been in severe trouble from hypothermia.
We're just waiting for someone to come and get you, and we'll get
The
you
Coastguards knew Clive's condition was deteriorating and made contact with the helicopter crew to guide them in.
It was incredible when you heard it coming, and it was such a relief. It was amazing.
When I was taken up into the helicopter, they put me on some form of machine to test my pulse, and apparently it didn't register at all. I feel if the helicopter had to come from any further than Brawdy, which is now closed, regrettably, I feel that I would not have survived.
Clive had serious leg injuries and was in a wheelchair for 6 months, but after intensive physiotherapy, he's almost fully recovered.
I have 3 main reasons for saying I'm glad I'm still alive. One is obvious, because I'm glad to still be alive. The second one is that if my wife still wants a husband and my kids still want a dad, well, I'm still around. But the main reason is that Jan need never have to answer people as to why she let me go.
I knew that I had absolutely no choice at all. I knew that if I hadn't let go, I'd have gone as well. And then we wouldn't... I had no choice, really, no choice.
I know why she let me go. She knows why she let me go. And if she hadn't, neither of us would be here. And probably no one would have known what even happened to us.